to introduce our chairperson of day 1 and day 2. So lucky us, we have the same chairperson for 2 days. And then we had a lot of conversations with Henk, and he has an amazing personality. So you can see his lifestyle, and he will explain a little bit more what he does. And he has an amazing history with sports, but I'll keep it a secret for a while. And he shared with me a couple of days ago amazing motto of his life. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up people to collect wood, and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. And I found it fantastic. So Henk, the floor is yours. So if you can play some music for Henk.
Thank you so much, Victoria, for your nice words and the clicker. I will start with my motto because, well, it's not mine. It's from a French philosopher, de Saint-Exupéry, who is also the author of the famous book Le Petit Prince. You might know, you might have read it. And that's what actually my whole life is about inspiration. I will tell you from whom I got my inspiration. That was my granny. She lived in the same street like I did. And although they had a very small home, she gave birth to 11 children. And at some times, because there was a large age difference between those children, there were living 20 people at the same time in that small house. And still, what I learned from her was, her door was always open, and every little child in the neighborhood knew how to find it and how to enter the door. And they even know where the tins with the sweets were, because she was just about giving and taking care of people and making nice food for them. And that's a very valuable lesson I learned. So for people who know me maybe a little better, I'm all about sharing ideas, but also food. So I know a lot of you do not come from Amsterdam. So I will already go a bit ahead for after the networking drink. I would suggest, if you would like to have a nice bite in Amsterdam, for not too much money, join me in lunch and say, I want to join, and then we'll find a nice place and we're going to have dinner tonight. And so we can continue the conversation of today. Let's see, what did I have from kind of slides? Okay, I'm the chairman, I'm from the Netherlands. I lived here my whole life. I started in Zeeland, and 8 years ago I emigrated to Drenthe, to Assen, for love. So that's a good reason to go to emigrate. I've been a journalist and a reporter for 10 years. If you're old like me, you might have heard me in the 90s on Langs de Lijn. That's a Dutch radio program. And the nice thing of radio is you have to talk to people's imagination, because on radio they can't see what happens. They are dependent on you. So I've been at a cycling course where nothing happened, but they just invented it to get a bit more excitement. And so that's what people do on radio. I'm a senior client partner at BlueJeans by Verizon. BlueJeans is actually an enabler, that's a difficult word, of video collaboration. And we advise and help organizations with digital communications. And that's what it's all about the next 2 days. I don't want to talk too much about COVID, but of course, for our profession, it has had consequences. Not all of them are negative. Actually, some of them are really positive, because it has been an accelerator to rethink what we do, to rethink how we collaborate, and it even accelerated a lot of innovation, and one of the reasons we are here. Some important things we learned, because suddenly we had to work from home. I haven't seen or met most of my colleagues yet. We did not have a scenario for that. How do I get my staff trained from a distance? Will we return to the old normal ways or not? All questions you probably have asked yourself. But one thing is for sure, we are partly or mostly remote working, and we have to pivot our internal communication strategy to earn trust and productivity and efficiency from our people again. And I think we will learn a lot about that in the coming 2 days. What will we learn and discuss? It's a lot. I've tried to put it on one slide. This is only day one. Personalization, that's where the first speaker will tell us about in a few minutes. We will have a brain spa. We will engage employees. I think that's a key word, engagement, of the next 2 days. And we will use intranets, bring mindfulness to the workplace, much more. What I learned, because I work daily with customers and we advise them about online events, online collaboration, all kind of stuff. But it's not about the tool itself. They are important, we need them, but within the tool and within the way you're working, it's about engagement, it's about inclusivity, being seen and being heard, which is so important, and user-friendliness. Because, well, I'm a bit older and I have the luck that I work in tech. So if I don't understand it, I have lots of colleagues or my children who will teach me. But we all have to remember that we can't tell them what to do. Leadership is not about directing, but about facilitating. And then I come back to my motto, about inspiring as well. And I hope I will be inspired and you all will be inspired today and tomorrow. And one of the things, instead of only sending and receiving, of course, a networking drink is very important because then you really get to know each other. Before I announce Catharina, I made some note because we are in a very special place. This is called the Bali. And if you look at the website of the Bali, they will tell you they are an incubator and an emancipator, a place where artists, up-and-coming talents, thinkers, scientists, activists, politicians, and the public meet and touch each other. So we have 2 days full of artists, talents, and thinkers. And maybe it's good to know that the Bali wasn't always such a free place, because it started as a court in the past. Then in the 19th century, it became a prison. And even in the Second World War, people who worked in the resistance, etc., when they were captivated by the Germans, they were brought here and interrogated and tortured. So it's very special now that this place is actually a center of free speech now. So nice for you to know that we sit in a very historical building. The opening remarks is from a lady who works for Philips. And Philips has a special meaning for me, because I remember when I was a young boy, we got our first color TV. It was because the Dutch qualified for the World Championship in Germany in 1974. Don't tell about the winner, etc., because it still frustrates me. But I remember this big Philips screen, full color, and Philips is really a phenomenon in the Netherlands. So I'm very happy I can announce Catharina Weber. She is responsible for communication channels at Philips. And she will tell us about the power of personalization and how Philips intranet transformed the digital workplace. So, Catharina, may I invite you? Welcome on the stage. Two small things for the audience. I hope everybody put out his smartphone. That's one. Secondly, if you have questions for Catharina, and unless she tells you differently, please save them until the end of her speech. Thank you.